Some trees. These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor. These are amazing.
These are amazing. These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor.
These are amazing. As though speech were a still performance.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech were a still performance.
To meet as far this morning from the world as agreeing with an I. You and I. You and I are suddenly what the trees. You and I are what. You and I are suddenly what the trees try to tell us we are.
That they're merely being there. That they're merely being.
That they're merely being there.
That they're merely being means something. Means so soon we may touch. As soon we may touch.
Love explain. Love explain. Love explain.
And glad not to have invented
Such comeliness. We are surrounded. We are surrounded.
The silence already filled with noises. 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 The silence already filled with.
The silence already filled with noises.
A canvas on which emerges a chorus of smiles. 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 The winter morning. Placed in a puzzling light.
The winter morning.
The winter morning. The winter morning. The winter morning. Placed in a puzzling light and moving.
Our days put on such reticence.
These accents seem their own defense.
Our days put on such reticence.
These accents seem their own defense. Some trees.
These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor. These are amazing.
These are amazing. These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor.
These are amazing. As though speech were a still performance.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech were a still performance.
To meet as far this morning from the world as agreeing with an I. You and I. You and I are suddenly what the trees. You and I are suddenly what the trees try to tell us we are.
That they're merely being there. That they're merely being.
That they're merely being there.
That they're merely being means something. Means so soon we may touch. As soon we may touch.
Love explain. Love explain.
Love explain.
And glad not to have invented
Such comeliness. We are surrounded. We are surrounded.
The silence already filled with noises. 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 The silence already filled with.
The silence already filled with noises.
A canvas on which emerges a chorus of smiles. 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 The winter morning. Placed in a puzzling light.
The winter morning.
The winter morning. The winter morning. The winter morning. Placed in a puzzling light and moving.
Our days put on such reticence.
These accents seem their own defense. These accents seem their own defense.
Some trees. These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor. These are amazing.
These are amazing. These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor.
These are amazing. As though speech were a still performance.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech were a still performance.
To meet as far this morning from the world as agreeing with and I. You and I. You and I are suddenly what the trees. You and I are suddenly what the trees try to tell us we are.
That they're merely being there. That they're merely being.
That they're merely being there.
That they're merely being means something. Means as soon as you may touch. As soon as you may touch.
Love explain. Love explain.
Love explain.
And glad not to have invented
Such comeliness. We are surrounded.
We are surrounded. We are surrounded.
We are surrounded.
The silence already filled with noises. 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 The silence already filled with.
The silence already filled with noises.
A canvas on which emerges a chorus of smiles. 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 The winter morning. Placed in a puzzling light.
The winter morning.
The winter morning. The winter morning. The winter morning. Placed in a puzzling light and moving.
Our days put on such reticence.
These accents seem their own defense.
Our days put on such reticence.
These accents seem their own defense.
Some trees. These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor. These are amazing.
These are amazing. These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor.
These are amazing. As though speech were a still performance.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech were a still performance.
To meet as far this morning from the world as agreeing with and I. You and I. You and I are suddenly what the trees. You and I are suddenly what the trees try to tell us we are.
That they're merely being there. That they're merely being.
That they're merely being there.
That they're merely being means something. Means as soon as you may touch. As soon as you may touch.
Love explain. Love explain.
Love explain.
And glad not to have invented
Such comeliness. We are surrounded.
We are surrounded. We are surrounded.
We are surrounded.
The silence already filled with noises. 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 The silence already filled with.
The silence already filled with noises.
A canvas canvas on which emerges a chorus of smiles, chorus of smiles, chorus of smiles, chorus of smiles, chorus of smiles. The winter morning, placed in a puzzling light. The winter morning, the winter morning, the winter morning, the winter morning, placed in a puzzling light and moving.
Our days put on such reticence.
These accents seem their own defense.
Our days put on such reticence.
These accents seem their own defense. Some trees.
These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor. These are amazing.
These are amazing. These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor.
These are amazing. As though speech were a still performance.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech were
Arranging by chance.
as though speech were a still performance.
To meet as far this morning from the world as agreeing with and I. You and I. You and I are suddenly what the trees. You and I are suddenly what the trees try to tell us we are.
That they're merely being there. That they're merely being.
That they're merely being there.
That they're merely being means something. Means so soon we may touch. As soon we may touch.
Love explain. Love explain.
Love explain.
And glad not to have invented
Such comeliness. We are surrounded. We are surrounded.
The silence already filled with noises. 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 The silence already filled with.
The silence already filled with noises.
A canvas on which emerges a chorus of smiles, chorus of smiles, chorus of smiles, chorus of smiles, chorus of smiles. The winter morning, placed in a puzzling light. The winter morning, the winter morning, the winter morning, the winter morning, placed in a puzzling light and moving.
Our days put on such reticence.
These accents seem their own defense.
Our days put on such reticence.
These accents seem their own defense. Some trees.
These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor. These are amazing.
These are amazing. These are amazing.
Each joining a neighbor.
These are amazing. As though speech were a still performance.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech were.
Arranging by chance.
As though speech were a still performance.
To meet as far this morning from the world as agreeing with and I. You and I. You and I are suddenly what the trees. You and I are suddenly what the trees try to tell us we are.
That they're merely being.
Heart. Listen for the calm of flooding chambers. A thing of bonds, bound and gagged, upon my palm. Are you counting on release? Or just arrested?
I can't move, for what if I wake the phantasm in the closet? I spend an hour psyching myself up and finally slump out of bed. I crawl across carpet, slip through the door, into a world of black and gray. I grasp for my brush, squeeze ink from my veins. The phantasm stirs itself. I quickly, quietly fill canvas with color. Red, yellow, blue, orange, grass. Will I escape in enough time before the phantasm catches up? Polka dots, flamingos, troll heads too. These patterns will shield me as I flee. I step into the world of color, phantasm on my heels. Just in time, I seal it out. I can finally breathe. I am safe.
Dear Diary, it's me, Jerome. Lately I've been having a lot of strange thoughts. They walk and talk with me in the piercing light of day. They dance jigs in my dreams and play puppeteer in my nightmares. They advise me in the aisles of the grocery store and pack the elevators in my office building. No doubt about it, there's trouble afoot in the old brain case. I fear I must tell no one, for no one will understand me. Hell, I fear I may never understand myself. But is that really so bad? Near as I can tell, I've been infected with a sort of parasympathetic synesthesia. I believe it all started when I went to see the Beyoncé laser show at the Pacific Science Center. Diary, I have never felt quite anything so sensational in all my short little life. You don't need me to tell you how I feel about Queen Bee. I was ecstatic. The set started off slow, irreplaceable, me, myself, and I, if I were a boy. That was all well and good, but between the darkness in the room and the milk duds in my belly, I was getting oh so sleepy. But the vibe started to pick up when Ego came on, and that started a run that finally peaked with Run the World, Girls. By that point, my armpits were drenched and my pupils were the size of dinner plates. But diary, the really interesting part is what happened next, during Blow. At the end of the third verse, just as she was starting to sing, "Give me that daddy long stroke," well, I don't know quite how to say this, but I guess a bolt of lightning must have struck the laser dome and penetrated the exterior. I heard a muffled gargling sound coming from the projection booth, so I stood up to check on the laserist. As I turned my head toward the rear, my eyes were shattered, in a manner of speaking, by a blinding iridescent column coming straight out of the diode array like a cannonball of light. In that moment, I saw pure color, as if for the first time, free of all shade, free of all hue. It didn't exactly hurt. More like it felt like someone was snaking a giant pipe cleaner back and forth in between my ears and cooking a hot dog on my teeth. I wish I could say the same for the laserist, but all the coroner found of him was a melted cardigan and a pair of white New Balances. And diary, ever since then, I've been seeing things that aren't strictly there. Though I must admit, this effect feels more bionic than bubonic. If a puppy licks my hand at the park, I get a pellucid flash of pink in the upper right quadrant of my peripheral vision. If I'm walking by the Great Wheel on the waterfront, the glinting wavelets are liable to set off gossamer pyrotechnics in my tear ducts. If I hear Limp Bizkit drifting from a cracked station wagon window, a blue-brown streak will tend to effervesce across my rear transom. Sure, it was jarring at first, alarming even, not to say horrifying. But this just isn't a superpower that people wish for. I can't fly, can't see through walls, I can't even lift a Ford Festiva with my little finger. This is more akin to having a troupe of poi dancers that live in your pocket, or one of those color run 5Ks doing laps in your backyard. More party trick than power trip. Even the mundane is elevated by this strange affliction. Morning coffee takes on a whole new meaning when the steam wisping off the cup is braided with a Kryptonian shimmer. Washing dishes is enlivened by the polychromatic slick dancing on the suds in the sink. Spring cleaning hits a little different when it entails dancing the electric slide with the Phantasm in my closet. But the worst/best of it hits me when I walk down First Avenue late at night. The leering neons and sultry strains of saxophone lend a gauzy magenta sheen to the torrid tableau. My gearbox has been dipped in a layer of Vaseline, and I am awash in fictive and fluorescent leather boets. I am beating to the tempo of the rhythm of the night, floating on a magic carpet of the mind. Diary, isn't life grand? To spend cold years tightly folded in an undecorated shoebox in a corner of the house no one visits, only to emerge one fine morning to draw breath from an unquenchable garden of Daphne under the promenading of songbirds and summer cirrus. Yours for now, Jerome.
Dear Diary, for the record, I didn't drink any, and neither did Wally. If you must know, it was supposed to be his first beer ever. But it turns out none of the parents really drink beer, so none of them had any. I told Wally that's okay because beer's gross, and don't you remember about my sleepover in 7th grade? Your first drink doesn't have to be beer, I told him. Leah said her dad had whiskey, but Wally said no way, plus he's scared of Leah's dad. So then Pon said, okay, let's try Nico's, because she overheard her mom saying how Nico's mom has lots of dates at that bar next to the Windy Sails Motel, so that probably means she has alcohol at the house, too, but Nico said no, just a dusty bottle of Barefoot Bubbly with the blue curling ribbon still on it from her baby shower 1,000 years ago, and Nico wasn't about to take that. So then Pon said, just come over, we'll think of something. So Wally and me told Dad we were going to the library, and Dad said perfect because he had a work Zoom and we knew he'd be in there on his computer for like 2 hours, so we jumped on our bike. My stomach felt kind of fluttery, but I like adventures, and when Pon met us at the door, she had her backpack on and the hugest grin, so I knew right then she had thought of something. She said, come on, we're going to the shop, and we knew she meant her auntie's grocery next to Sun Tobacco, so we got back on our bikes and rode. Leah and Nico were already there, heads down, kicking the newspaper boxes, and Wally looked at me like, here? Why are we trying to get busted by Pon's auntie? And he was about to say something, but Pon said, come on, dum-dum, so we followed her inside, kind of quiet, like we were in trouble already. Inside, Pon started speaking Chinese with her auntie and pointing at us and making motions like putting cans on shelves. And Pon's auntie frowned at Pon and then at us for a long time, but then she slid down off her stool behind the counter and took us to the back, and then we were in a big room with pallets of shrink-wrapped cans and bottles and boxes of food. She said some more in Chinese to Pon, and then she said to us, as she was leaving, listen good to Pon. Well, I tell you what, Diary, before we knew it, Pon had us dragging boxes out of that storeroom and putting Doritos and Mountain Dews and little cans of bean dip on shelves in her auntie's store. We were hoofing it back and forth, and I almost forgot what we had come for in the first place. But then all of a sudden Leah goes, look at Pon, and sure enough, Pon was tucking a wine bottle under her sweatshirt and scurrying back to the storeroom. So we all finished up, quick, and soon we were back at the front of the store, and Auntie was smiling and giving us each a fat pink pack of Bubblicious, and then we were walking out the door, and Pon had her backpack on, and my heart was thumping like a kick drum. Wally looked kind of sick. But we jumped on our bikes and followed Pon to the duck park. That's not its name, because it has these ancient moss-covered bathrooms back behind the baseball field that no one ever uses in winter, and we could park our bikes behind them and not be seen from the road. So then we were in a huddle, out of breath, and Pon pulled out the bottle, and Nico goes, good thing it's a screw top. My heart was thumping, and then Pon hands the bottle to Wally like, you get the honors, and Wally looked at me, but I didn't look back, and we were all kind of quiet. And I just kept thinking about Pon's little Chinese auntie handing me a pack of Bubblicious. And then I looked at Wally, and I felt so heavy, I just wanted to cry. I said, come on, dummy, we have to go home. And just like that, me and Wally were back on our bikes. And when we got there, Dad wasn't even off his call yet.
April 1992. Turned somersaults in your crib. June 1992. It seems as though we have been talking to you for a long time, 15 and a half months. February 16th. I was throwing up and you walked in, and I explained that I was sick like you and Ira were, but I was okay. You paused, looked at me, hanging onto the toilet, and said, hug? It was dark. You ran in circles on the deck, looking at the sky, chanting. I thought about your birth 2 years ago, and how I spent the 2 days after you were born. You're just over 2 years. Your language is exploding. July 1993. It's a wonder and a joy. And you love dragons. You love to run. Dinosaurs. And you are often telling us we are doing a good job, Mommy. October 19th. 2 years, 8 months. March 8th, 1994. You are going through a particularly accelerated period of defiance. You still show compassion and sweetness throughout the day. July 13th, 1994. 3 years. I'm spending sleepless nights thinking about things. I'm dreading sending you to preschool. I'll try to give you more reassurance. You took my hand as we walked up to the deck and said, "It's so magical." You are always using lines in conversation that you've heard elsewhere. Monday, August 29th, 1994. For several weeks, I've been regretting enrolling you for school. Monday, February 13th, 1995. July 2nd, 1995. 4.5 almost. I haven't written in a long time. Your sister, Andrea Alice, was born in November. You and she are very close already. You have no sense of cold, and you are fearless, which makes me worried. You run, climb, do a backward somersault. You told me over the phone that you want to be my running partner. You are challenging, independent, defiant, and inside, we love each other. July 17th. You and Ira sat side by side this evening on the deck railing, no clothes on, eating popsicles, watching fireflies, and not saying a word. July 30th, 1996. You came down last Tuesday with lipstick. Not on your lips, but it covered the lower parts of your face. Something in that caught my heart. I bought you socks with bows on them because I knew the details would make you happy. February 10th, 1997. Tomorrow at 12:11 p.m., you turn 6 years old. You become very emotional. Anger 1 minute, loving. You threatened to run away a few times. I feel very close to you and love to spend time alone with you. You usually skip when we walk anywhere. April 11th, 1997. You look so sweet with that gap in your smile. You are quick to anger and very easily October offended. 14th, 1997, 6.5 years. I've thought about writing for months, and I haven't. When you finished kindergarten, I mourned for the entire last day. This caught me by surprise. February 11th, 1998. February 10th, 1999. June 8th, 2000. 9 years old. We're having our differences, but despite that, I think we are close. I like seeing the sweetness in your face. April 6th, when you think of something funny. Off again. July 26th, 10 years old. February 11th, 2003. The years are passing. 11 years old at 12:11 p.m. Your golden birthday. February 10th, 2004. 13. As you know, we have had our ups and downs, and overall, we get along fairly well and understand each other somewhat. January 7th, 2004. Before I lose you, I want to tell you I still love you. We've had a rough year and last night you left the house. It seemed to be to run away. It was a lot of anger against me, and you were gone. I'm not sure where it all comes from. February 11th, 2007. We've been getting along better these days, but lately it's been mostly rough again. February 11th, 2009. Hard to write now. The prospect of you leaving in the fall, or even August, is daunting. I didn't write you for 17. I write less and less each year. I'm planning to give this to you when you leave this year. Night before last day of high school. I hope you'll want to talk to us. I'll remember that song you're singing. I hope that made you happy. A cold wind blows through. You can see the growth. For now, you're still here. A lot lies ahead. All the garden You've made many good friends. Out every night. How strange to think of you visiting home. We have trouble communicating. Last day of high school tomorrow. Approached the weekend with trepidation. You tried to nap on my chair, but didn't last. Too so bright, many more ahead. You let me run with you this morning. More tree frogs at the lagoon. Plant trees for stability, or talk to them for guidance. They are always with you. Sunday, September 17th. The parting for now. I see half of this notebook is yet unwritten. What will the pages hold?
I've been having the dreams again. The ones where I can't sleep. I think about Lauren all the time. I was looking out at the palm trees again today. They look like machines. They're like that video game where you're driving. Endless horizons. I keep thinking I have somewhere else to be, or I'm somebody else. I'm scared. I remember how he'd find me out. Find his way into me. There's a kind of freedom to being invaded. No, that's not right. I like the confusion, ecstasy. Confusion and then not clarity, just not needing to know. That part doesn't feel like memory. Just feels like how it is. I went down to the ocean again the other day. I watched the waves. Just thought about how they're not even really there. How they almost take shape and then disappear again before they ever fully exist. I feel like that too.
Tuesday. I've woken very early. It's the middle of the night, I think. I usually enjoy stretching into the space between asleep and awake. I find it comforting and reassuring, easing into my mind's eye, like dipping a toe into a warm bath. But I have just woken too suddenly, and I have found a feeling of terror in me that I can't explain. For the life of me, I couldn't remember where I was immediately when I woke, and I feel very confused, as if all of the neurons in my brain have been put into a glass of fluid and swirled around, like strawberry milkshake powder dissolving into cold milk, cloudy. I can't remember falling asleep, and maybe that's why I'm continuing to feel so unsure and confused. I am sitting up in bed now, writing this down. It's helping me to gather my thoughts. I think I will get a cup of tea. If I creep downstairs quietly, I won't wake Jake beside me. He can sleep. I do like the way he snores. Wednesday. I was in my studio today. The room is bright, with light streaming in from the big bay window, and I love it, with my old wooden desk waiting for me. My desk is made of soft wood. It has become marked and scratched and dented over the years. My desk is wide and familiar. It feels oily on the tips of my fingers and warm. I know it has absorbed parts of me because of how I have touched and breathed over it through all of these years. It has felt me, and I feel as if I belong to it in some way, as if my desk and I share a sense of being. It is where I find myself. I hope I sleep tonight. I do not want the terror again. It is too disturbing and I can't work it out, although I think it may have something to do with what my future holds. Friday. Lacey came today, which was a relief. I do love her, although she is a chatterbox, and she has a particular way of letting me know what she wants me to do. I don't mind her being in charge. I know she cares for me. Lacey has always been the best at deciding, even when she was small. No, mummy, she would say, not like that. Jake would get cross when she said that to him. He would tell her to stop being so bossy. I liked how she could say what she wanted and say what she didn't want, what she would and wouldn't do. I admired her for it. I felt proud of her tiny being and her boldness, standing with certainty and defiance. I understood it was an attitude that could be easily cast aside as naughtiness, and that did worry me. I haven't told Lacey how terrified I am. I don't want to worry her, but it is getting worse. I feel desperately that I need to keep trying to figure out what is so terrifying for me, but I can't quite catch what is happening. I wish I could. I know I would be able to solve it if it wasn't quite so evasive, running away from me at every opportunity. I'm not used to that. I'm used to allowing what disturbs me to settle in my mind. I've always been able to see things from every angle that way. Still, I am here, and I can write, which I am very grateful for, because otherwise, how would I know who I am? That eases my terror slightly. Saturday. I'm awake. I have been unexpectedly and suddenly woken again. I have been woken by the same terror I felt the other night in exactly the same way. I can feel it in my bones. I can feel my bones aching. All of their inside sponginess is throbbing in the most sickening manner. My head feels sore. I imagine my brain, the limits of its physical structure encased in my skull, with all of its veins, filled with my blood, transparent sheaths, feeding the structures which hold together my physicality, and I have realised that's how my terror runs. That is why I cannot catch it. It has been absorbed through the transparent sheaths of my veins, and it has invaded my blood and all of my body. Except for a tiny part of my brain, the one that is not being fed by my blood or terror anymore. The part of my brain that has died, and will carry on dying as they told me it would. Through lack of food and feeling, I have been silenced. Some of me has already disappeared into the dead space. I will not be able to find the whole of myself again, ever. I will be like Aslan, slain on an altar, trapped in an emptied wardrobe, lost in the dead space of my own mind, forever suspended in the place between sleep and awake.
Okay. February 8, 2022. It didn't rain last night, so my bag finally dried out. I hung out with Jack until morning, and then we went to Bartell's right when they opened. I grabbed a box of Pop-Tarts and 2 boxes of Valentine's chocolates they had right by the door. I think Jack went and got on the light rail. I headed back to the spot for breakfast and a nap. The roar of cars overhead makes me sleepy. But when I woke up, I had this tune in my head. It's like so much music rushing through me, you know? It's like traffic. But I don't have to go to work. Fuck that. This new spot is actually kind of tight because there's a music shop hella close. And I couldn't find Jack, so I just walked over there by myself. Music stores is shit. They let me play whatever. I put the chocolates on the counter and told the guys they could eat the top box, but the other one's for my girl. That place is sick though. They gave me a can of pop last time. I spent like an hour singing in the guitar room, dude. I was on fire. I even told them how I was going viral and shit, but they know lots of musicians, so it's like whatever. Jack showed up in the shop. He was like, hey, I got it. But then he had to bounce because he didn't have a mask. He never does. He never does. I met up with him later at Cowan. He told me Jordan almost wouldn't give him this shit, but he said it was for me, so he did. I gave Jordan $200 when I first got here. So then we met up with Crystal at the park, which was dope, because she's got an apartment nearby and she makes music. And her dog Sadie is cool. She told us how she had this show and it was like a dubstep show, but she didn't know that. And they were like, yo, you have to change your set. And she was like, hell no. But it was just a crazy mix-up because her last name is Wub, and they thought she spins Wub shit. Crystal's so tight. She wants me to sing on her album, which is sick, because she knows a bunch of producers and warehouse people in Portland. And she has a dope studio in her closet. But yo, I gotta go. Peace.
Alhambra, a Muslim palace without any figurative artwork, but expresses its reverence for Allah through inscriptions of the Quran everywhere, for intricate woodcuts on walls, ceilings, columns, domes, symmetry, math, engineering, astronomy, or the languages of their faith. The color palette consisted of green, white, brown. Spirituality is not only expressed in the craft of the palace, but its architectural plan. The open space welcomes nature with open arms, open courtyards center with quiet fountains, a blue sky, white clouds, brown columns, and green trees reflected in still waters. Butterflies and bees hover over pink and red flowers decorated on green bushes. The palace is one with nature, echoes nature, intertwines with nature, enhanced by nature. Spirituality is found in God's creation. In Chinese, we have this phrase, women are made out of water. Your guy friends lamented to you, woman, your name is weakness. For all your beliefs in female strength and independence, since you are young, your tears stream freely and quickly. They called you a crybaby for your sensitivity and emotionality. So you don't know how to contradict those two statements, because you thought, yes, you are made out of water, and yes, your name is weakness. In the beginning of the Spain trip, Mom and you were at a paella restaurant. She talked about her sister's miscarriage last month and the death of her friend's cat. Your tears stream freely and quickly. They are such wonderful people, your mom said. They are really good human beings. They really don't deserve such pain. She cried, and your mom seemed to bloom before your eyes. Some sort of soft glow surrounded her body. Tears of compassion, a heart broken open by love. She's made of water, a capacity to feel for someone else outside of herself, as vast as water, as powerful as water, as flexible as water. She is moved by other people's experiences. The demarcation between self-centeredness and the world dissolved. She became the most beautiful woman you have ever seen. Your mom is made of water, but her name is certainly not weakness, nor is yours.
Everyone hates my drawings. First I drew a person. It turned out horrible. Next I drew 4 Beanie Boos in love.
How was it received by people?
It was horrible. Everyone hates me.
You ever think about something? Like, you think about something, then you think about it, then you think about it, then you think about it, then you think about that. So you think about something, then you think about that, 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 then you think about that. And then you think, wow, this is so stupid.
Past the hanging clothes and the giant woolly mammoth, there is a dragon in the closet, creating the sun with the fire from its mouth. If I could, I would summon an asteroid big enough to destroy it, bringing darkness over the world in the wardrobe. But for now, I go outside and grab a rock. I crawl back through the door, push the rock toward the dragon, where the rock begins to grow and grow and grow until it knocks the dragon from flight onto the carpet. I walk over to its flaming body. Suddenly I feel regret. I hope you never try anything like this. I hope you keep traveling toward the bright sea, where the world is bright but cool and wet, bright with vast expanse, horizons and adventure, endless. You are better off on your leaky skiff. Here, the lambs are burned by the dragon. As I walk away carrying this regret inside, a little feather falls high from in the sky. I pick it up and put it in my pocket as I walk up the hill toward the mountain. Suddenly, I realized, almost to the top of the mountain, I left something behind. The little feather was missing from my pocket. I sit down right where I am and start to cry. I cry so hard and so loud that the dragon comes right to me and lies down. Beside me, eyes meeting mine, the dragon opens its mouth and with hot breath says, "Dry your eyes, boy. Your feather, one day, might help someone fly over this mountain and toward the bright sea."